steam surged in thick, choking waves as a man in a grimy white jumpsuit fought to haul himself out of a blackened metal tank. His breath came in sharp, broken gasps, eyes wide and frenzied. The heat clawed at his skin. His hands, slick with filth, struggled for grip. "Get him out!" a voice shouted above the roar. "The water's boiling!" He slipped once, then again, until two strong arms yanked him up and out, just as the rising steam threatened to swallow him whole. His face was crimson, flushed with heat and humiliation. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. The look in his eyes said it all. He'd just stared into the pit of something he thought he'd conquered a lifetime ago. But now, soaked in sour stench, legs trembling beneath him, the man wasn't a boss, wasn't a leader. He was just a worker, lost, stripped bare, and breathless. This wasn't a stunt. This wasn't punishment. This was someone's Tuesday. He steadied himself slowly, wiping his filthy palms down his chest. The look in his eyes shifted, hardening, narrowing. Something inside him cracked open. This was never supposed to be him again. But once, it had been. His name was Jackson, CEO, a titan in seafood, the kind of man who walked onto private jets like they were taxis, who signed deals in glass towers while investors clapped like metronomes. But no amount of applause could quiet the silence that followed him home. Not silence from lack of success, but from people. From the faces that never got remembered, the ones who stood ankle-deep in freezing slush, who gutted fish for strangers and went home invisible. He used to know them, used to be them. That was 2 decades ago, before the tailored suits and scripted speeches, before he forgot the cold. Now, under a false name and a borrowed history, Jackson had come back, not to lead, not to reclaim, but to remember. More space took its own in the torments, but the agony was healing, soothing. They thought he was just another foreigner chasing the American dream. But Jackson wasn't chasing anything. He was searching for something he'd lost at 19. Back when his hands were cracked and raw from cold, when dreams were heavy boots and aching backs. He remembered the weight of fish crates, the silence between men too tired to speak, the quiet strength in that stillness. Those years taught him how to listen, how to lead without raising his voice. But success has a way of building walls, glass, concrete, and distance, office after office, floor after floor, until the work that started it all felt like a rumor. Now he was peeling it all away, layer by layer, one truth at a time. The name tag on his chest read J. No handshake, no eye contact, no recognition. That was the point. This wasn't a return, it was a reckoning. The processing plant sat on a dying dock. The air was thick with salt and rust, a place built for endurance, not comfort. He stepped inside, alone. No cameras, no welcome, just flickering fluorescent lights and the low moan of machinery. His boots stuck to the wet floor. Nobody looked up. That, too, felt familiar. A man approached, mid-40s, sleeves stained with grease, eyes sharp with skepticism. "First day?" he asked, already turning away. Jackson nodded. "Yes, sir. Name's Jay." No smile, no warmth, just a command. "Follow me." And he did. No title, no power, just steel and silence, and a weight in his chest that hadn't been there in years. This wouldn't begin with a handshake. It began with a shovel. John handed him thick rubber gloves, still damp with someone else's sweat. "Put these on. You're going into the pit." Jackson blinked. He thought he had more time. He didn't. They walked past towers of frozen fish, past walls marked with the scars of years, steam, oil, and silence. Then an iron hatch. John opened it with a grunt. "Climb in. Shovel everything into those bins. Don't touch the sides. Don't slip." The smell hit like a blow. Rot, oil, decay that burrows into your skin and stays there. Jackson lowered himself into the pit. The heat clawed at him. The air thickened. It wasn't boiling, but it was close. His breath shortened. His hands trembled. And somewhere deep in the back of his mind a voice whispered, not the name they knew him by, but the one he'd long buried. "What are you doing here?" And for a moment, he didn't know. Minutes passed. Sweat poured. The sludge beneath his boots clung like guilt. He shoveled slowly. Every movement dragged. The blade hit something solid, just a twisted lump of breading and waste. "Keep moving," John barked. He nodded, though no one saw. His arms shook. One foot slipped. He caught himself, barely. His heart slammed in his chest. He looked up toward the light, but it felt 100 miles away. His eyes closed. He used to do this. He used to be strong. Now, he just felt old. Soft. Wrong. "Get out," John called. "You're done." Jackson climbed out, slow and silent, his clothes soaked, his pride even more so. John said nothing, just turned and walked away. And for the first time in 20 years, Jackson felt small. After a brief break, John handed him a wire cutter. "We got a line down. Follow me." They entered a cluttered room humming with machinery. Wires spilled from open panels like vines in a jungle. John pointed to a frayed cable. "Cut here, then strip it. Easy." Jackson crouched. His fingers fumbled. He hesitated, then cut. The wrong wire. The light blinked out above them. John froze. "You just made this twice as bad," he muttered. Jackson stood. "I'm sorry, I don't..." "Just stop." The silence stretched. Machines buzzed, but between them, nothing. John took the cutter and finished the repair himself. "You don't belong here," he said, not looking at him. And for the first time, Jackson wasn't sure if he was wrong. Later, they sat in the break room. Metal benches, plastic cups. A microwave hummed in the corner. John didn't eat. He stared at the floor, arms crossed tight, jaw clenched. "You don't get it," he said. "This job, it doesn't care how nice you are, or how sorry." Jackson nodded, silent. "I came here at 19, slept in my truck. No one gave me a second chance." He glanced over. "You made 2 mistakes in 2 hours. That's time I don't get back." Jackson looked down at his hands. Grease under his nails. Skin reddened from the heat. He remembered when they used to look like that. John stood. The moment passed like a door slowly closing. Quiet, but final. "I can't carry dead weight. If this doesn't work tomorrow, you're out." The words aren't shouted. They're not cruel. Just flat, final. John doesn't even look at him when he says it, pulling off his gloves and tossing them into a bin like it's just another task. Jackson nods, but deep inside, he already knows. John's mind is made up. The shift ends not with applause, not even with acknowledgement, just the sound of boots scraping wet concrete and machines winding down to silence. Jackson walks to the locker room alone. He peels off his uniform, still damp from the pit. His undershirt sticks to his back like a second skin soaked in failure. No one says goodbye. No one looks twice. It's like he was never there. Outside, the sky is fading to gray, the wind sharp with salt and rust. He sits on the curb, elbows resting on knees, the ache in his body deep and slow, but the ache in his pride cuts sharper. 20 years ago, he would have begged for another chance, would have fought with words or will, but now, all he feels is the weight of the truth. He didn't make it through a single day. He doesn't even check his phone. What would be there? No calls, no emails, no title to hide behind, just silence. He came back to reconnect, but all he's found is how far he's drifted. Before sunrise, Jackson boards a small charter plane. No press, no assistant, just a worn duffel and a hum of silence too loud to ignore. His destination? Alaska. A deep-sea fishing vessel named Triumph. The irony doesn't escape him. He stares out the window as clouds ripple past. His reflection blurs in the glass, familiar but faded. This place, he knows, will be colder, harder. The stakes are higher. But that's exactly why he's going. There's no comfort out here, no place to hide, if he's going to face what he's become. This is where it has to happen. He fingers the edge of his fake ID. Same name, Jay, different story. As the plane descends, icy waters stretch endlessly below. Somewhere out there men are working through the night, men who won't know who he is, and who may never forgive him if they find out. The boat looms large, steel gray and weather-beaten. It rises from the sea like a fortress. Jackson steps onto the deck carefully, the wind slicing through his coat. Everything echoes. Chains clinking, boots thudding, engines grumbling. A tall, wiry man with a sunburnt face approaches. Name? Yeah. Greenhorn, huh? You're with Billy. A broad-shouldered man emerges from behind a stack of crates. Calm eyes, steady presence. He nods once. Let's go. No questions, no welcome, just movement. The work waits. They walk past rusted railings, past coiled nets and oil-stained winches. Everything smells of salt and diesel. Jackson glances at the other men. None look back. He's invisible again. And somehow, that's what he wants. No one expecting him to lead, just a man trying to earn his keep. Billy stops beside a coil of rope. First rule, don't talk unless it matters. Second, don't die. Jackson nods, his boots are already wet. It begins. Billy moves fast, hands fluent in the language of this boat. Ropes, levers, pulleys. Jackson follows, heart hammering in his chest. The deck is slick, uneven. One wrong step, and the ocean waits. Stand here, Billy says. Don't touch anything unless I tell you. The heavy steel hatch groans open. Below, 2 tons of netting unwind with a moan. The cables stretch tight. Watch those lines, Billy says without looking. They snap, they kill. Jackson's eyes drift to the water, gray, endless, alive. Then, the alarm. Everything explodes into motion. Jackson hesitates, Billy snaps back. You freeze, you die. That isn't drama, it's truth. The net rises, soaked and groaning. Fish spill out, silver flailing, gasping. Billy shouts, "Grab that hook!" Jackson stumbles forward, the rope heavier than expected. His arms scream. He pulls, again and again. The wind slices through him. Billy doesn't slow. He's already hauling fish to the chute. Jackson bends, lifts, drags, over and over. His gloves tear, his fingers go numb. "This is a good haul," Billy shouts. "Move!" Jackson grits his teeth, tries, fails, tries again. The sky goes pale, then darker. Hours blur. His legs shake, his back locks. Finally, Billy calls a break. They sit on overturned crates, steam rising from chipped mugs of instant coffee. Billy glances over. "You married?" Jackson shakes his head. "Divorced?" A nod. "Sucks, huh?" Billy says. He pauses. "I got kids. Don't see 'em much." Jackson watches the horizon. Billy keeps talking. Quiet, steady. "My mom's sick. Mesothelioma. I'm saving to buy her house so she doesn't get moved." Jackson doesn't respond. What is there to say? This is the soul of the company he once built. Not on spreadsheets, but here, beside him, in work boots and worn hands, trying to buy their mother a place to die in peace. The break ends without warning. A horn buzzes, boots scramble. Billy tosses him a hook. Get up top, we're unloading the bag. Jackson climbs onto the mound of fish. Every step sinks deep like wet cement. The cold presses into his bones. He secures the straps. One slips. He catches it just in time. The winch screams, the bag lifts. Jackson steps back too slow. His foot catches. Billy grabs him, hauls him upright. Watch yourself. One wrong move, you're overboard. Jackson nods, eyes wide. No thanks, no time. Thousands of pounds of fish pour onto the deck. Jackson grabs a shovel, pushes. His arms burn, his motions slow. Billy doesn't yell, just moves. Efficient, fast. Don't stomp, you'll crush the catch. Jackson adjusts. His body screams, but the work doesn't stop. Task after task, noise after noise, until silence is a memory. By the end of the shift, Jackson leans on the rail, sweat soaking his clothes. Lee passes by, nods once. You made it. Somehow, that means more than all the applause Jackson ever got in a boardroom. The next job, below deck. No wind, no light, just heat and stink. The fishmeal room. The air hits like a wall, rotten, thick. Jackson gags. A man waits by the grinder. Sharp eyes, polish accent. Name's Raffle. You clean, you listen, you keep up. He points to a vat, steaming, heads, guts, bones. Jackson picks up a scraper. The floor is slick. The metal burns through his gloves. He works in silence. Raffle watches, says nothing. This isn't hard work. It's endless work. Jackson wipes his face. His sleeve comes away black. Somewhere above, the haul continues. Down here, only waste. He shovels through sludge. Steam chokes the room. You keep that line clear, Raffle says, or we shut down. The grinder whines. Jackson coughs, nearly falls. Raffle glances over. Wait. You okay? Jackson nods, says nothing. He's not sure what would come out. The heat never leaves. The stink clings. This isn't labor. It's punishment. A place meant to break the weak. And still he keeps moving. Eventually, a pause. Maintenance. The machines groan to a halt. Jackson steps outside. The wind hits like mercy. Raffle joins him. No words, just presence. Breath in fog. You work hard, Raffle says. Most don't last. Jackson's hands are numb. He nods. You from Norway? A pause. Originally. Raffle smiles faintly. Poland. Left 12 years ago. My wife and kids still there. He stares at the sea. I send money. One day I'll bring them. Jackson looks at him, not as a worker, but as a man holding together a life from miles away. I haven't seen them in 2 years. Raffle adds, not sad, just fact. No internet, no calls, just letters, when they come. He shrugs. I miss birthdays, school things. My wife sends photos. That's how I watch them grow. Jackson feels something twist in his chest. A knot, too deep for words. I do what I can, Raffle finishes. One day, maybe. Jackson wants to say something true, but all he can do is nod. Because words won't fix this, only change will. And change takes more than listening, and takes action. The break ends. Raffle heads back first. Jackson follows, slower this time. Inside, The heat returns. The air thickens. Rathel points. Bags, 77 pounds. No more, no less. Jackson lifts the first sack. The straps dig into his shoulders. He staggers. Too heavy, Rathel says flatly. Start over. And Jackson bends down again. Because now failure isn't the end. It's where something new might begin. Jackson nods, even as his spine tightens and his arms tremble with exhaustion. The rhythm is relentless. Scoop, weigh, seal, repeat. A mechanical mantra, but for Jackson, every repetition feels like a test of strength, of focus, of willpower. When he misjudges a bag's weight, Rafal steps in. No anger, just tired precision. Each bag demands more than muscle. It demands presence. And Jackson, stripped of title and comfort, gives everything he has to keep up. Hours pass. His shirt clings to him like a second skin, soaked in sweat. His fingers are raw, his movements dull and slow. Rafal doesn't stop, doesn't complain. He moves with quiet efficiency, sealing each sack like he's done it 1,000 times, and he probably has. Jackson falters again. The scale beeps. Overweight. Fix it, Rathel says, voice flat. Jackson lowers the bag, breath ragged, vision blurry. The walls shift around him. I need a second, he mutters. Rathel doesn't flinch. No second, no replacement. You stop, the line stops. We lose money. Jackson stares at him. Rathel's face is calm, but his eyes are cracked with fatigue that runs bone deep. No drama, just fact. Jackson straightens, lifts another bag. Because this isn't just about reconnection anymore, it's survival. And he's learning, painfully, what it really costs to keep this company alive. The next day, he's moved again, this time to Seremi, the station that turns fish into paste. The room is cold, metallic, and moves with terrifying speed. A woman in gloves calls him over. Named Susanna. You pack, you keep up, or you get out. No smile, no warmth, just clarity. She demonstrates once. Lever, catch the paste, wrap, seal, slide. The line starts. Jackson misses the first, then fumbles the second. Again, she snaps. Her voice slices through the hum. He tries to find rhythm, but the pace keeps coming. Thick, fast, indifferent. His hands cramp, his breathing quickens. He fumbles again. The wrap sticks. Another portion lands. Then another. The tray overflows. Susanna slams the emergency stop. The silence that follows is deafening. She turns, eyes narrowed. You holding this job or wasting my time? Jackson can't answer. His chest heaves. He's never felt so behind. Take 5, come back ready, or don't come back. She walks away. Jackson leans on the metal table, hands trembling. Doubt, once a whisper, now roars inside him. Outside, he gasps in the cold. His breath curls in the air like smoke. Behind him, footsteps crunch. Susanna lights a cigarette. She doesn't speak at first, just stares at the sea. You're not the first to fall behind, she says eventually. But not everyone gets back in. Jackson looks over. She keeps her gaze ahead. I've been here 8 years. Same job, same line. You don't move up unless someone quits or dies. He exhales slowly. My mom died 2 years ago. Cancer, liver. I stayed out here afterward, felt easier than going home. No one to explain anything to. She flicks ash into the wind. You learn to shut off parts of yourself, the parts that miss things. Then she turns. Break's over. You coming? Jackson nods, follows her back in. The line hasn't slowed. The machine hums. The paste flows. Jackson steps up. Steadier now. Not perfect, but present. 1 second. Susanna nods once. No praise, no scorn. Just rhythm. Press. Wrap. Seal. slide. The minutes stretch and bend. Jackson doesn't check the clock. He drops a rap, recovers, keeps going. Susanna works beside him, fast, silent. The silence now feels like mutual respect, not judgment. By shift's end, Jackson is spent, but standing. He surveys the tray, clean, organized, done. Susanna glances at his work. You kept up. It's just 3 words, but they land harder than any compliment he's heard in years. They step outside again. Same railing, same wind. Susanna crosses her arms. There's a foreman opening. No one said a word to me. Jackson watches her. She's not bitter, just tired. I've trained 5 people who got promoted. Still here. I guess I'm not loud enough. A pause. Then, almost to herself, sometimes I wonder if they even see me. Jackson sees her now. Every efficient movement, every sacrifice. She tosses the cigarette. I'm not asking for anything, just a chance to be more than what I am. The wind rises. She walks back inside. Jackson stays, watching the sea. He came looking for the truth. Now the truth stares back at him. That night, he lies in his bunk, sleepless, still. He thinks of John stern and unyielding, of Billy silent, strong, of Rafel counting days from 1,000 miles away, of Susanna fighting to be seen. This journey was meant to be a check-in, a company pulse. Instead, it's become a revelation. Not about operations, but about people, the ones holding the foundation together, unseen, unheard. Jackson came searching for answers. He found names, faces, real lives. And now he knows what he has to do. Not through a memo, not in a speech, but face to face. The next morning, every crew member, from maintenance, the deck, the fish meal plant, and the paste line, is called to the bridge. They arrive slowly, cautiously, confused. Jackson stands at the front, not in gloves, not in borrowed workwear, just himself. Good morning, he says. I owe you the truth. He pauses. My name isn't Jay, it's Jackson, and I'm the CEO of this company. The room goes still. Rafel stiffens. Susanna's jaw locks. Billy crosses his arms. John stares. Jackson breathes. I've spent the last few days working beside you, failing beside you, and now I want to tell you why. They don't speak, but they listen. You tricked us, John says, low, controlled. I did, and I'm sorry. I wasn't here to test you. I was here to see what I stopped seeing. The truth. Your truth. Billy's voice cuts in. You were terrible at this job. Laughter breaks the tension. I know, Jackson smiles. I was slow, weak, lost. But I saw what matters. I saw you, your work, your sacrifice. He looks at each of them. You shared pieces of yourselves with me. You didn't have to, but you did. I won't forget it. They don't clap. They don't smile. Perhaps they stay. That's enough. He turned to John. The pit, the wiring. You gave me the truth even when it was hard. John doesn't respond, his face unreadable. I didn't make it easy for you, and you didn't pretend to be impressed. It's not my job, John says. You didn't earn it. Jackson nods. You're right, but you did. You've held this place together. A pause. I want to offer you more, a new title, Director of Maintenance, and a raise to match. John's brow lifts. You're serious? Completely, and one more thing. I heard you haven't seen home in years. We'll fly your family here, all expenses paid. John doesn't smile, but he nods quietly, berated and calmed and reflected. All right then, he says, thank you. And that's all he needs to say. Jackson turns to Billy, his voice steady with gratitude that can't be wrapped in a speech. You taught me more with silence than most people do with lectures. Billy shrugs, eyes down. I just showed you the job. No, Jackson says gently, stepping closer. You showed me what it means to carry love on your back, across oceans, across time. You taught me that providing isn't loud, it's constant. I know about your mother. I know how you're saving to buy her a home. Billy blinks, his jaw tightens. We're going to help you finish that, Jackson says. A gift. Enough to cover the rest of what she needs. He pauses, then adds, and starting this season, every ship in our fleet will have internet access. Messages home. No one should go weeks without their family. Billy lowers his head, wipes his face once. He doesn't speak, but the way his shoulders release tells the story. It's not relief. It's release of everything he's carried alone. Jackson turns next to Rafal. You once told me this ship feels like a prison. No breaks, no calls, no one to cover your spot. Rafal nods slowly, quiet, still. You've done everything right, and yet your family is still oceans away. That changes today. Jackson steps closer. We'll cover it, all of it. Visas, flights, housing, whatever it takes to bring them here. Rafal's eyes widen, but he says nothing. And one more thing, Jackson adds, you've given up years with them. Let us give some of that back. He hands Rafal an envelope. Inside, enough to start fresh. No strings attached. Rafa holds it like it might vanish. His voice barely escapes his throat. They'll finally see where I work. Jackson nods, emotion thick behind his eyes. And this time, you'll be the one waiting at the door. Finally, Jackson faces Susanna. You never asked for recognition, but you earned it. Over and over. She doesn't speak, doesn't move, just waits. I watched you carry a line alone, train others, hold everything together. You said no one sees you. A beat. I do now. Her eyes flick barely, but enough. There's a foreman position opening. I want you to apply. I'll personally support it. He steps forward. And until then, take this. He hands her an envelope, a cash bonus, and a round-trip ticket home. You told me about your mom, that you pulled away. Maybe this helps you find your way back. Susanna takes the envelope with both hands. Her voice cracks. She'd want me to take it. Jackson nods, soft. I think she would too. The four of them stand in stillness. No one rushes to leave. There's no applause, no grand gestures. Just a shared breath. The weight finally lifted. Jackson looks around the room, no longer filled with workers but with people. I came here thinking I needed to check on the company, he says. But I was wrong. He pauses. I needed to check on myself. He nods toward the crew. He reminded me what this place is built on. Not systems, not strategy, but people. Billy nods, quiet. Rafa looks down. Susanna wipes her cheek. Even John, stoic to the end, doesn't look away. He lost sight of that, Jackson admits. But I won't forget again. No clapping, no cheering, just silence. But it's not empty, it's full of understanding, of truth, and maybe, finally, of belief. Outside, the ship pushes forward, not just through the ocean, but toward something new, something better. The next morning, the vessel is still. No engines, yet no alarms. Jackson stands on the upper deck, alone. The horizon glows with the soft orange of dawn. The sea breathes gently beneath the hull, cold, honest, steady. Crew members begin to appear, slowly, naturally. Billy laughs with someone at the rail. Raffle walks the deck, a letter in hand. John checks a valve, two younger workers beside him, listening intently. And Susanna, coat clean, clipboard in hand, walks toward the factory door with purpose. Same ship, same work, but Jackson sees more now. No, he sees them, not employees, not line items. Names, stories, lives. He walks the deck slowly, no clipboard, no schedule, just presence. He stops by the winch Billy once operated, touches the rail where he nearly slipped, watches the crew shuffle below. Familiar faces now, not numbers, people. He thinks of the jets, the offices, the applause. They don't seem smaller, just quieter. Because here, in the cold, in the noise, in the rhythm of labor, he found something greater. Respect earned in silence, strength shown without spectacle, connection forged not in policy, but in pain, truth, and shared breath. He leans on the railing. Below, the sea rolls forward. For the first time in years, he doesn't feel above it. He feels part of it. Later, he walks through the glass doors of headquarters. Same logo, same hallways. But inside, he's different. He passes the executive wing. Quiet suits glance up, unsure. In the boardroom, he speaks plainly. I lived 4 lives in 10 days. On the line, in the pit, below deck. He pauses. What I saw, what I felt, was more real than any report we've read, such as exercising, meditation, and recovery. Then, effective immediately, every vessel will have internet access. Promotions will be reviewed by those who've done the job, and will reunite families of our immigrant crews. This isn't charity, Jackson says. It's what we owe them. No applause, but no objections either. For once, the boardroom feels human. Back on land, changes take root. In the break room, new posters, real names, real faces, real stories. In one corner, a screen flickers. Live calls from sea. A child waves from a kitchen. Her father, half a world away, waves back, tears in his eyes. The factory runs smoother. Not because of machines, but because people finally know they matter. Every new policy begins with a single question. How does this serve the people in boots, not just the ones in suits? One afternoon, Jackson returned to the dock. Same harbor, same salt, but everything feels different. The ship he worked on is loading again. New crew boards, some familiar, some new. He sees Susanna, clipboard in hand, giving orders with quiet authority. She nods to him, not a thank you, but belonging. Rafał stands nearby, speaking Polish to his little girl. Her laughter cuts through the wind. Billy leans on a crate, phone to his ear. He's smiling. John checks a gear, already deep in focus. Jackson watches in silence. Not as a CEO. Just a man who finally sees. This company, it isn't made of steel or stock. He's made of people, and everything they carry. He turns to go. No speech, no spotlight. Just a quiet truth, etched into his soul. He didn't save them. They saved him.